On February 8, 2026, the world stood still as Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga took the stage for Super Bowl 60. While the masses saw a celebration of Latin culture, those with eyes to see witnessed something far more profound. From the shattered Prism logo to the live wedding ceremony on stage, every moment was a calculated move in a larger spiritual game. In this episode of Veil Decoded, we break down the numerology of the number 64, the symbolism of the Red Maga Flower, and why the Golden Gate Bridge was used as a literal portal in the branding of the NFL. We explore the Ice Out controversy and how it served as a vibration shifter for the collective consciousness. This is not just a halftime show. This is the 2026 Super Bowl ritual. The lights went out, not by accident, but by design. On February 8, 2026, Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara became the epicenter of a global energetic harvest. Over 4.1 billion people tuned in to watch a spectacle that transcended sport. They call it the halftime show, but in the higher realms, it is known by a different name: the Great Invocation of the Solstice King. Look closely at the screen. You saw the colors. You saw the dancers. You saw the union of two souls in a legal marriage, performed in front of the entire planet. But did you see the sigils? Did you understand why the headliner wore the number 64 on a cream-white garment? Did you notice the specific frequency of the salsa arrangement that Lady Gaga used to entrance the crowd? Today, we peel back the veil on Super Bowl 60. We are decoding the occult architecture of the most watched event in human history. Welcome back to Veil Decoded. We are the watchers on the wall, the seekers of the hidden truth, and the decoders of the symbols that the elite use to communicate in plain sight. We peel back the layers of the material world to reveal the spiritual warfare hidden within the media you consume. If you are ready to see the world for what it truly is, you are in the right place. Before we dive into the depths of the 2026 ritual, remember that our deep dive research is supported by our community on Patreon. For exclusive breakdowns of the sigils we cannot show here, join the inner circle at the link in the description. Let us begin with the branding. The logo for Super Bowl 60 was unlike anything we have seen in previous years. The NFL moved away from the simple metallic designs and embraced what they called the shattered prism. This design featured a high-contrast gradient of magenta, deep purple, royal blue, and golden yellow. To the average viewer, it was just a modern aesthetic. To the occultist, it was a map of the fractured psyche. The prism represents the soul being broken into various frequencies. Each color corresponds to a specific chakra, but in this logo, the colors were shattered, suggesting a state of collective trauma or cognitive dissonance. At the center of this logo was the Golden Gate Bridge. Why the bridge? Because a bridge is a liminal space. It is a portal between two states of being. By placing the bridge at the center of the shattered prism, the architects of this ritual were signaling a transition. We are crossing over from the old world into a new, fragmented reality. Notice the pine trees and the mountains in the logo. These are symbols of the earth element, but they were stylized to look like jagged teeth. This is the devouring mother archetype, a symbol often used in rituals involving mass sacrifice or energetic draining. The logo broke the code of previous years, not to troll the predictors, but because the script has changed. We are no longer in the phase of prediction. We are in the phase of manifestation. The choice of Bad Bunny or Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio as the high priest of this ceremony was no coincidence. His name itself, Benito, means the Blessed One. He entered the stage not as a performer, but as an initiate. He wore an alcreme wardrobe designed by Zara. In the occult tradition, white or cream is the color of the neophyte, the one who is being prepared for a higher office. But look at the jersey. The number 64 was printed clearly on his chest. In numerology, 64 is a powerful number. It is 8 times 8. The number 8 represents infinity and the cycle of death and rebirth. When you square it, you get 64, which is the number of squares on a chessboard. This is the ultimate symbol of the game of the gods. It also relates to the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching and the 64 codons of human DNA. By wearing this number, Benito was acting as a proxy for the genetic restructuring of the human race. He also used his maternal name, Ocasio. In Latin, Ocasio refers to the occasion or the opportunity, but it also shares roots with the word for the setting of the sun or the falling. He is the king of the setting sun, presiding over the end of an era. When he shouted "Ice Out" during his earlier Grammy speech, he was not just making a political statement about immigration. He was signaling the thawing of the old structures. The ice is the frozen state of human consciousness. To ice out is to break the old shell, so the new fluid identity can emerge. The most blatant occult element of the night was the live wedding on stage. Two performers were legally married, while billions watched. This is a classic Hieros Gamos, or sacred marriage ritual. In ancient traditions, a public marriage was used to anchor a specific energy into the land. By performing this at the Super Bowl, they were not celebrating love. They were binding the collective consciousness to a new legal and spiritual contract. Bad Bunny signed the marriage certificate as a witness. In the astral realm, a signature is a seal. He was acting as the bridge between the human world and the legalistic structures of the elite. This was a binding ritual performed on a global scale. The fact that it happened during a song about hurricane aftermath tells us everything we need to know. The marriage represents the new order that is established after the controlled chaos of the storm. Think about the energy that 4.1 billion people emit when they watch a wedding. It is an energy of projection, of hope, and of emotional vulnerability. This energy was harvested and funneled through the shattered prism of the stage design. It was a massive battery charge for the next phase of the global agenda. Then came the entrance of Lady Gaga. She appeared in a light blue dress, the color of the new Puerto Rican flag, but also the color of the throat chakra and the planet Venus. On her chest was the Red Maga Flower. The Flor de Maga is the national flower of Puerto Rico, but its symbolism goes deeper. The red flower represents the blood of the earth. It is the feminine principle in its most potent and sacrificial form. Gaga and Benito performed a salsa version of Die with a Smile. Listen to the lyrics through an esoteric lens. If the world was ending, I'd want to be next to you. This is the mantra of the end times cult. It is the glamorization of the apocalypse. The salsa arrangement, provided by Los Sobrinos, used specific polyrhythms designed to induce a trance state. The clave rhythm is a heartbeat. When you sync 4 billion heartbeats to a single rhythm, you create a superorganism that can be programmed with new symbols. The 300 performers, dressed as grass, were not just scenery. They represented the field of humanity. They moved in unison, swaying to the will of the high priest and priestess. This is the visual representation of the hive mind. We are the grass, easily mowed, easily manipulated, and always swaying to the frequency of the broadcast. The performance featured segments that depicted power outages and hurricane destruction. For a few moments, the stage went dark. This is the nigredo phase of the alchemical process, the blackening. In order to transform a substance or a society, you must first break it down into its base elements. You must plunge it into darkness. The imagery of the sugarcane workers and the enslavement of the past was used to trigger ancestral trauma. The elites love to use historical pain as a low-frequency anchor. By bringing these images to the Super Bowl stage, they are recharging the trauma in the modern psyche. They are making sure the wound stays open, so they can continue to offer the healing through their own systems of control. Ricky Martin's appearance, singing about the gentrification of Hawaii and Puerto Rico, was another layer of this. He was speaking of cultural loss. In the occult, when you lose your culture, you lose your protection. You become a blank slate on which the New World Order can write its own laws. Martin, as the first openly gay male headliner in the show's history, also represented the breaking of the binary. Another key theme in the 2026 transition. The finale used 9,852 theatrical pyrotechnic devices. Why such a specific number? If you break down the numerology, 9 plus 8 plus 5 plus 2 equals 24, and 2 plus 4 equals 6. The number 6 is the number of man, of the physical world, and of the structure. But it is also the number of the hex. The pyrotechnics were not just for show. They were the alchemical fire used to seal the ritual. As the sparks rained down on the shattered prism, the portal was closed. The energy had been harvested. The marriage had been sealed, and the new frequency had been broadcast into every home on the planet. Bad Bunny stood at the center, the Solstice King who had successfully navigated the darkness to bring forth a new artificial light. The Monaco orchestral segment, conducted by Giancarlo Guerrero, provided the final high-frequency finish. This was the golden phase of the alchemy. The chaos of the hurricane had been transformed into the luxury and order of Monaco. This is the ultimate dream of the elite. A world where the masses live in the aftermath, while they live in the symphony. What we witnessed on February 8, 2026, was not a game. It was a milestone in the spiritual history of our species. The Super Bowl has become the high mass of the technological age. Every year, the rituals become more complex, the symbols more direct, and the energy harvest more efficient. You must ask yourself, why do they need your attention so badly? Why do they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to put these specific images in front of your eyes? Because your attention is the currency of the universe. Where you look, your energy flows. And when 4 billion people look at the same sigil at the same time, that sigil becomes reality. But there is a way to protect yourself. Awareness is the first step. When you see the symbol, it loses its power over you. When you understand the ritual, you are no longer a participant. You are an observer. And an observer cannot be harvested. Look at the shattered prism again. Do not see the colors. See the cracks. That is where the light gets in. That is where your freedom lies. If you found this breakdown valuable, please like the video and share it with someone who is still sleeping. Our work here at Veil Decoded depends on your support. For those who want to go deeper into the specific sigils used in the Lady Gaga performance, we have a full technical breakdown available on our Patreon right now. The link is in the pinned comment. Don't forget to participate in our community discussion. Did you feel the energy shift during the blackout segment? Look at the timestamp, 7:42, and tell me what you see in the shadows. Let us discuss the sigils below. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and most importantly, stay sovereign. We will see you in the next decoding.